Hey guys, I know it's been a little bit again, so sorry, but my birthday was last week and I have quite the haul to show you guys. So to start out this little birthday haul, I'm going to talk about the 2 books I got from Book of the Month this month. This is a subscription service and you basically get to pick 1 new hardcover book every month. And so I picked out my book, and then also if you are with them long enough, you become a BFF member and you get a free add-on during your birthday month. So I got 2 books this month for the price of 1, and my pick for April was Passion Project by Kaylee Smith, and this is listed as a romance on there, and it sounds really cute, I think. In this, we follow Bennett Taylor, and she is failing at life miserably. She lives in New York City, and she doesn't do anything. She doesn't have any passions or any will to do anything more, and she gets set up on a first date with Henry Adams, who is very adventurous and loves going, and she, in her drunken state, admits that she doesn't have any passions. And so they make a deal that every Saturday they're gonna go out and they're gonna do something fun to try to get her to find her passion. And it sounds really cute, honestly. It sounds like sparks are gonna fly, and it's a journey of finding your happiness, so I think it's gonna be a cute one. For my birthday add-on, I got Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. Book 1 is Phantasma, which I have not read yet, but it sounds like in this series we follow a girl named Ophelia, and her sister has gone missing. So she decides to enter a deadly contest called Phantasma, which is set in this haunted house setting. There's giant twists and turns, and there's monsters, and all of the other contestants are willing to do anything to win. The prize is a single wish that will be granted. So she ends up meeting a very charming and attractive man named Blackwell, and Blackwell says that he can get her through the trials, and all he requires is 10 years of her life. So thus begins a journey of trying to beat these 9 challenges to win the prize, but also trying to guard her heart from this very charming but mysterious Blackwell. I think it sounds very cute. I know it's like a newer romantasy, so I do want to read these soon. Also, the covers of these, I just think they're so pretty. Now, on my actual birthday, I was so excited. My local library was doing a library book sale, and it was, again, on the day of my birthday, so that's the one thing I said I wanted to do. I woke my partner up early, and I said, we're going to the library book sale at this time. It started at 9, and we were there by 9:45. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have been to library book sales. Usually they're really cheap, like cheaper than even my used bookstores. So I was very excited to go. And the first book I picked up was Falling Up by Shel Silverstein. This man is who got me into reading when I was very young. I used to stay up reading Where the Sidewalk Ends. I own one of his other poetry collections, and now I own this one. Like I just said, it's a poetry collection. I don't really know what else to tell you about it, but I was really excited to find this for $1. Now, the next ones I was really excited about because, as I've said on this channel before, I was not a library girly when I was younger, and there's a lot of like younger middle grade series that I always wanted to read, but I haven't. So as an adult, I've started collecting middle grade books because I find them like very just refreshing after reading a really long, dense, you know, adult book. So it's nice to go back and read something easy where the font is huge and you feel like you're making so much progress. And the first series that I found at this library sale was The Fire Within by Chris Delaney, I think, or DeLacy. I got books 1, 2, and 3. Book 1, The Fire Within. Book 2, Icefire. And book 3, Firestar. In this series, we follow David, and he moves in with Elizabeth Pennycuttle and her 11-year-old daughter. He discovers a set of clay dragons that comes to life, and it inspires him to write a story that reveals secrets of a mystery. To solve the mystery, he must conquer the fire within, not only with his hands, but with his heart. I think it sounds so cute. I mean, it has dragons, and you guys know by now, dragons are my thing, so it definitely grabbed them for 50 cents a piece. The next book I got from the library sale is another middle grade. This is book 1 to the Septimus Heap series. This is Magic by Angie Sage. And in this, we follow Septimus Heap, who is the 7th son of the 7th son. And on the day he is born, he is declared dead by the midwives. His father finds an abandoned baby. They take her in and they name her Jenny, or Jenna. And basically, it's like, who is this mysterious baby and what really happened to Septimus Heap? I think it sounds really cute and interesting, and I love the covers. As a kid, I remember seeing these covers all the time and I was like, those look so fun. The next book I got from the library sale is Death Masks by Jim Butcher. This is book 5 in the Dresden Files. I have also talked about this series before in my other book haul video. I have not started it yet, but I do own quite a few, and this is one of the ones I was missing. This to me was sold as Supernatural the TV show, but in book form. Harry Dresden, he solves supernatural mysteries and murders and such in the town. I don't really feel like explaining it more, but I think it sounds like such a fun time, and I'm really excited to finally dive into this urban fantasy series. The next book I randomly picked up because I have seen Preston and Child all the time. These are two men that write together, and I, again, see their books all the time at the used bookstore, and I've just never picked one up. But at the library sale, I saw The Cabinet of Curiosities, and it reminded me of this whole thing, and I was like, wait, and I picked up the back, and it kind of sounds good. So in this, we discover an underground tunnel under New York City, and in this, they discover 36 mutilated bodies that happened over a century ago. The second the FBI agent starts discovering these murders that happened, copycat murders start happening in the present. I think it sounds really good, so I grabbed it. Now, if you guys have been watching some of my videos, you guys know I love R.A. Salvatore, so I picked up Mortalis, and this is book 4, I believe, in his Demon Wars saga. I have not started this series, and I honestly couldn't tell you what it's about. I simply picked it up because I love his other series and I love his writing, but I did grab this when I saw it. Probably the most exciting thing in this entire video for me was finding one of the Legend of Drizzt books that I am missing, and that is Vengeance of the Iron Dwarf by R.A. Salvatore. If you put them all in chronological order, this is book 30 in the Legend of Drizzt, meaning I only own, or I am only missing 2 now in all of the first 30 books. And for those of you that don't know, you're really missing out, but in this series we follow a drow, and these are dark elves, and he's kind of denounced his people, and he has empathy, and he goes to the surface realm, and it's really all about him trying to find his place in the world. And I don't want to spoil anything else. Think classic fantasy tropes, finding your place, finding your friends, found family. It is just the most beautiful thing. I cry every time I read one of the books just because I love Drizzt. I would love to be his best friend. But I was squealing when I saw this book and realized it was one of the ones I did not own yet. So during my birthday week, I also went to my bookstore, my used bookstore that I'm obsessed with, 2 different times, one with a friend and one with my partner, and I did pick up a few books from there, not as many as normal, but the first one is Trollfell by Catherine Langrish. This is book 2 in Trollfell series. Trollfell was actually one of the only books I ever checked out from the library growing up, and I never actually finished it, but I always remembered the covers being so whimsical, so when I saw this I said, wait a second, I think that that's the book that I used to read. Found out it was book 2, so I'm gonna have to go find book 1, but Trollfell book 1 follows a boy named Pier, and after his father dies, he needs to go live with his 2 uncles. He finds out his 2 uncles are about to sell children to the goblins, so he has to muster the courage to obviously stop them, and he becomes allies with a very adventurous girl and a house spirit that just wants to eat, and thus their journey will be written down in the legends. And I just think it sounds so fun. Again, I remember trying to pick it up from the library so many times as a kid and trying to read it, but I really was not a reader growing up, so it was hard for me to actually finish a book before you had to return it to the library. But I saw it and I said, wait, that just sparked a locked memory I forgot about. At the used bookstore, I also found The Fire Eternal, which is book 4 in the Fire Within series that I had just gotten books 1, 2, and 3 from the library book sale, so I obviously grabbed that. The next book I got is The Madness Season by C.S. Friedman, and in this book, Earth has been conquered by a reptilian race called the Tyr that has a united consciousness, and they obviously don't like humans, so every human that kind of represents humanity, you know, the most intelligent, the most curious, the ones that could spark rebellion, they banish off-world. Thus comes Datron, who is a vampire, not as in a monster, but he is an immortal that embodies what humanity really is. And when the Tyr discover him, and they're kind of like, how did this guy go unnoticed for so long? They try to banish him off-world, and thus begins a journey of self-discovery and trying to save humanity. And honestly, I just think all of C.S. Friedman's books sound really good. I need to actually get around to reading one of them, but I also was like really digging the cover, if it would focus. Maybe. I don't know, I just really thought the cover was cool, honestly. That's kind of why I bought it. The last 2 books I got from the used bookstore are The Daylight War and The Skull Throne by Peter V. Brett. This is book 3 and 4 in the Demon Cycle by him. And in this series, as darkness falls, the Corlings come. And these are demons that possess supernatural powers and a hatred for humanity. So over hundreds of years, these demons have just been gaining in power and the human numbers have been dwindling. And so in this series, we follow 3, you know, rebels, I guess. I'm not sure what you would call them, but we follow 3 characters that have been scorned by these demons, and they decide that they've had enough, and so they are going to fight against the night and against these demons that have been terrorizing the earth. I think it sounds good. I'm sorry if I just synthesized that really badly, but I've heard good things about this series. This past week, I also went to Barnes & Noble 2 different times. The first time was with my best friend. I was like, alright, it's my birthday. I'm okay spending money on full-price books. I don't normally do that, but I was like, I deserve it, right? And I got a couple books, and then I earned a reward. So what did I do? I obviously went back to use my reward. So the first book I got is Beauty's Punishment, and this is book 2 in Anne Rice's Naughty Sleeping Beauty retelling. I don't really think I need to explain what this is about. It's Sleeping Beauty, but smut. But it's pretty smut. Like, it's not like today's smut. I mean, she writes it. It's pretty. It's just pretty. I don't know how else to explain that, but I did not own book 2. I owned book 1 and 3. So the next book I picked up from Barnes & Noble was The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker, and I've seen this cover several times while going, and I just haven't had the willpower to actually pay full price for a book. But as I explained, it was my birthday. I felt justified doing it. And in this, for generations, the fleet of the 100 Isles have been in a war, and they've made their ships from the bones of ancient dragons. The dragons obviously vanished, but the war has continued. And now the first dragon in centuries has been spotted, and all of these sides of the war are trying to get the dragon, because whoever gets this dragon will not only get the glory of it, but they will win the war. I just love the fact that it's dragons and it's ships, which I kind of love nautical and maritime stuff, so I have been wanting this one. I thought it sounds so good. The other book I picked up from that same Barnes & Noble trip was How Long Till Black Future Month by N.K. Jemisin. One of my goals this year is to read all of her books. I am just missing her Dreamblood duo, so when I saw this short story collection, I had to grab it because I think that she is the best writer. I am obsessed with her and her, just the way that she's able to portray big topics. I don't know if that made sense, but her writing's just really good, guys, okay? That's all you really need to know. Just read it. But actually on Goodreads, when I typed this in to add it to my want to read list, I actually saw that this is considered like a prequel short story collection to the Dreamblood duology. I don't know if that's actually right or if Goodreads is just being silly, because sometimes it does that. But that makes me really excited because I'll obviously read this before I get my hands on the Dreamblood duo, if that is true, if that makes sense. But just had to continue my collection of her books. The last book I picked up from Barnes & Noble is Chronicles of the Black Company. One of my favorite booktubers talked about this probably years ago, and I have had it on my Goodreads forever. And I was walking through Barnes & Noble the second time with my mom, and she said, wow, that cover is really pretty. And I said, hold on, Black Company? I know that. That's on a list of mine. And sure enough, I pulled it up and it said, that's coming home with me, because this is books 1, 2, and 3. This is the whole series. And I'm just going to read the little synopsis on the back because I honestly don't know what it's about. It's been so long since I added it to my list. But it says, darkness wars with darkness as the hard-bitten men of the Black Company take their pay and do what they must. They bury their doubts with their dead. Then comes the prophecy. The white rose has been reborn somewhere to embody good once more. Not very descriptive, but I really trust this booktuber that I love, and again, it's been on my list for a few years now. So I saw it and it was all 3 of them. They had like book 1, but then they had this one and they were the same price, and I said, why would I pay the same price for just 1 book when I could get all 3? Look, I'm a smart consumer of capitalism, okay? I'm just saying. Now, before I forget, I did get 2 little things that are book related but not books. And the first one is this little Frodo Squishmallow. Now look, I kind of was one of the Squishmallow girlies like 3 years ago, and then I was like, guys, this is really stupid. This is a waste of my money. If I'm gonna have any kind of stuffed animal in my house though, it's going to be a Frodo. It's so cute. I mean, look, he even has the leaf of Lorien and the ring around his neck and a little cape. Adorable. The other thing that I got was from Barnes & Noble with my reward. I basically got it free, but that's this little mini Dobby. Guys, he's so cute. He's so cute. I saw it. I said, oh my god, I really don't need that, but he's gonna sit on my bookshelf. So we have little Dobby. A gift from my mom was The Will of the Many by James Islington, and I have been seeing this everywhere. I'm sure you guys have been too. It's a fatty. I love the cover. I have just heard so many amazing things about it. Like, I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about it. It's just been blowing up on every single social media platform. All of my book club people from school have been talking about it. So I was like, dang, I really need to get my hands on that. I actually have no idea what it's about. I really couldn't tell you what it's about, so I guess we'll find out together. If you already know, then you're better than me, I guess. But it sounds like there's an elite academy and a young fugitive uncovers layered mysteries and world-changing secrets. I don't really feel like reading what else this is about because I kind of want to go into it blind. But it sounds like it's like an academic setting, which are always a fun time. And it's so fat, but I've heard that it's so good. People have been reading it really quick. So we'll see what happens. The last thing I also got from a gift from my mom, but it has not come in the mail today. I think it's supposed to come later today, but I don't feel like waiting to record that. So I'll just put a little picture here. But I did get the mini versions of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. I have had these on a Christmas list for like 5 years now. So I finally got them. I'm so excited for them to come in the mail. Do I already own copies of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit? Yes. Yes, I do. But you know, if the world ends and there's one thing that I can carry with me, it's gonna be those little mini pocket editions, because it's the best thing, and I just think they're so cute. So I did also get those, and again, they should be in the mail and on my front porch here soon. Thank you guys for watching. I felt like there were a lot more books as I was trying to stack them up here next to me, and then I just talked about them and maybe there weren't as many as I thought, but at the same time I do have a giant towering stack next to me, and I also have another book on the other side of me, and I do have the 3 coming in the mail. So maybe I am just crazy and this is like very little to me because I'm used to buying so many. But please let me know what you guys thought about some of these books that you've read. Hopefully you guys recognize some of the covers, and I really want to hear your thoughts though, because I was just in a book slump and I'm trying to stay out of it, so I need good book recommendations. I know The Will of the Many is kind of a high priority soon, although just coming out of a slump, I'm kind of scared to get into such a thick book. But again, let me know what you guys thought about some of these books because I need recommendations. I love hearing your thoughts, and I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And if your birthday was also this month, happy birthday, guys, us April babies.